Hello, people. I hope you all are fine and you are utilizing this time in a proper way and trying to learn something new, and also using this time, spending this time with your family members as well, which you have not enough time when you have the very busy schedule. It is this is a very scary time, but we have to keep hope that everything will be fine. Everything will be definitely fine if we adopt some necessary precautions which have been advised to us by different health experts, and try to not to step out of your houses unnecessarily. And in case if you are required to step out of your houses, take the necessary precautions keep which have been advised to us while venturing out of our houses. Anyway, I already told you that at the weekends I will upload the video lectures on the daily basis. Today I have the topic I have selected is on the complex numbers. So let what are the complex numbers, I will just give the idea about the complex numbers, and later in the subsequent videos I will upload more and more videos on this topic. So you have learned different set of numbers till now, that is real numbers. Real numbers, what are real numbers? Real numbers, it includes two set of numbers, that is rational numbers, and another is irrational numbers. I'll pose a question here to you, and I expect this thing from you. While watching the video, you will pause the video at this time and try to give the answer to this question which I am going to share with you. And if you are able to answer it yourself, that is fine. If not, I have already shared its answer with you in this video. I will pose a question that is there any number whose square is negative? Is there any number whose square is negative number? Whose square is there any number whose square is a negative number? Try to think over this question and try to answer this question of your own. So I hope you have, whether you will be able to answer this question or not. But look, we will try to we will try to give this answer in a with a different examples. Suppose we have 3. So if you put 3 square, that is 3 into 3, this is equal as 9, so positive. Suppose you will select minus 3 square, that is minus 3 into minus 3, that is also positive. So you have learned till now that there isn't any number, whether positive or negative, whose square is positive. You take any number here, you take any example here, whether positive or negative, square it and you will find a positive number. I have posed a question to you, is there any number whose square is a negative number? So we are looking it, we have tried it to answer it in a different examples by picking up the different numbers, positive numbers as well as negative numbers, squaring them, but we have found that the answer is in positive. But question is there any number whose square is negative number? Of course there is. You have learned about in your quadratic equation concept that square root of, suppose say, minus 2. Whenever you are required to find the discriminant of any number, discriminant, we have a quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. So discriminant equals b square minus 4ac and for to find the roots, x equals minus b plus minus root of d divided by 2a. And you have learned that whenever this d is in negative, you at once right answer that real roots does not exist. So here you would have written in your previous classes, real roots does not exist. Exactly, real roots does not exist. What do you mean by real number? It is a real numbers. Real numbers are those numbers which can be represented on a number line. You are familiar this concept very well. But this probably was unsolved in mathematical world for a long time. In 16th century, it was the Euler who gave the concept that there is a square root of negative number. How he he worked on these things, on this problem for a long time, and he come to the conclusion there is a square root of negative number. He wrote like this. For example, if we have minus 2 or say minus 1, take an example of minus 1. He says that this root minus 1, he gave it its name I, where I is an imaginary unit. Root minus 1, he gave its name I, imaginary unit. It was the Euler who solved the problem of finding the square root of negative number. So I have posed a question: is there any number whose square is negative number? Before, when you are unaware about this concept, your answer will be definitely no. But now, after learning this concept, after being familiar with this concept, you will be able to answer yes, there is a number whose square is negative. Take a look. This is I, this is I, this is I, this is I into I, this is I square. I square is what? Whenever root minus 1, so you taking the square on the both sides, this equals minus 1. So there is a number whose square is equal to root minus 1. So there is a number whose square equals minus 1. So from this concept, and another system of number were developed, known as the complex number. How will you define the complex number? You define the whole number and the numbers which start from the 0, natural numbers, the number which start from 1, and rational numbers which can be put in the ratio of the two integers, and irrational numbers which cannot be put in the ratio of the two integers, that is, which you have learned, that which can be written or which can be put in the form of p by q. So another system of numbers were developed, that is known as the complex number. How can we define then the complex number? I will just write the definition of a complex number, and we will take this definition to further modification and further conceptualize it. The number which is in the form of p by which the number which is in the form of a plus ib, where a, b are real numbers, and I has the property that I square equals minus 1. The number which is in the form of a plus ib, where a and b are real numbers, and I has the property that I square equals minus 1. Suppose you just take an example. For example, 3 plus 2i. How? 3 is a real number, 2 is a real number, and it means that 3 plus 2i, this is a complex number, or I times 2, it is one and the same thing. Again, minus 2 plus 6i. this is a complex number. Minus 2 minus 6i, this is a complex number. 3 minus 2i, this is also a complex number. So you can give lot of examples, even infinite examples of a complex number. Just put the two real numbers, put I with one of the real numbers, add or subtract them, you will get the complex number. Now one question here which I want to ask you in this video lecture, that is every real number a complex number? I will write it here. Is every real number a complex number? Is every real number a complex number? Answer is yes, of course. How? Suppose you have 2. Is 2 a real number? Answer is yes. We can write it, we can put 2 in the form 2 plus 0i. So is this a complex number? Of course, by definition this is a complex number because it is in the form of a plus ib. This is a, this is b, a and b should be real. This is 2 is real, 0 is real, so this whole is a complex number. Minus 3 is also a complex number, minus 3 plus 0i. Root 2 is also a complex number, root 2 plus 0i. So we will conclude here that every real number is a complex number. Every real number is a complex number. One more question. Is 0 a real number? Is 0 a real number? Sorry, is 0 a complex number? Is 0 a complex number? Answer is yes. How? We will write 0 equals 0 plus 0i. Exactly, this is a complex number. So every real number is a complex number. You should be familiar, you should memorize it, you should understand it. How? That we can put any number. For example, if in fact if we have any real number a, we can write it a plus 0i, any real number. So every real number is a complex number. So this is all about the definition of complex number, the number which is in the form of a plus ib, where a and b are the real numbers, and I has the property that I square equals minus 1. One more thing, we have just defined that root minus 1. This root minus 1, this equals I. Root minus 1, this equals I. For example, if you are required to find the value of root minus 7, how can you write then? Very simple. Write it in this way, 7 into minus 1, or separate them. Root minus 1, root 7 is as it is. This root minus 1 equals I. So root minus 7 equals root 7i. What is I? It is an imaginary unit, that is I square equals minus 1 or I equals root minus 1. Again, what will be the value of root minus 9? Have a look. This is 9 into minus 1. You can write it root 9 into root minus 1. Root 9 equals 3 and root minus 1 equals I. So this equals 3i. Root minus 9 equals 3i. So in fact, you can put any number, any negative square root of any negative number in this form, and we'll find the value of I by separating the minus root minus 1. Then you can easily find the square root of any negative number. So here, in the real number system, you have the different types of the properties: closure property, associative property, existence of identity, existence of inverse. In the similar fashion, these properties also hold true in complex numbers. So these property I will discuss in the next video lecture, and video lecture should be very precise, very short, and it should not be very high lengthy video, and you should be able to understand it in a very clearly. And so we will discuss in the next video lecture the properties of a complex number. You are already familiar with the properties of the real numbers in the similar fashion, we will also study the properties of complex number. We will keep this video lecture up to this, and in the next video lecture I will try to upload more and more video lectures on the complex number. And till then, stay home, stay safe, take care of yourself and your family members. And I also request to you and I expect from you that do not try to venture out of your homes unnecessarily. Take the necessary precaution which have been advised to you by as advised to us by different health experts, that for our in to ensure our safety. So let's finish this video lecture. Till then, bye. Allah Hafiz. Take care. Thank you, class.